About 21 years ago, a revolution began in Nigeria, which has continued to evolve and change the way that we interact and communicate. Before then, speaking to people who are geographically distanced from you via something called the telephone was a luxury. There was an agency of government that was solely in charge of that process. When you pick up the telephone, you wait for something called a dialing tone. It could take a few minutes and it could take a lot of time. For those of us who didn't have telephones in our houses, we went to our neighbor's house to wait for our uncles and aunties who were going to call. Because telephone was for the rich and it was for the high and mighty. And then in 2001, when a number of us in this hall were not born, and I'm speaking of us, the students, because the things we take for granted now, you would think that that's the way life has always been. You are the digital natives. Many of you did not witness those telephones that we had to do like this, round and round and round. Many of you did not know that once upon a time, when your phone rings, you will walk from where you are to go and pick the phone. Many of you did not know that you could not carry a phone in your pockets. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Nigeria. Nigeria has evolved and Nigeria has come of age. And today, as we do every year, on February 6th, to mark the birthday of Professor Pat Utomi, a notable Nigerian, we're X-raying a topic that affects all of us. And today it's about the telecommunications industry, the focus on infrastructure. My name is Babajide Benson. Good morning to you all, and welcome to the 2025 edition of the Center for Values in Leadership Annual Lecture, brought to us by the trustees, the management and staff of the Center for Values in Leadership, led by Professor Pat Utomi. Can I please ask that we please rise for the national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. When we had this event last year and we had to sing the national anthem, it was "Arise, O Compatriots." Today, we shall be hailing Nigeria. Because it is not a state function, we will sing only one stanza of the national anthem. Only one stanza. I'm sure somebody is happy that finally, because you don't know it anyway. Do you know it? You. Do you know it? Yeah. Thank you for confessing. Some people don't know it yet, sir. Are we ready? The national anthem, as a mark of respect for the national anthem, for Nigeria, once the national anthem gets started, we have to stop all forms of movement. Ushers, please take note. Kindly ask everybody to stay where they are. Please stop people from coming in at the entrance, except you're a photographer or the video man. Can we all please stop for the national anthem? We will sing together as a people.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign fatherland.
Thank you very much. You may please take your seats. All right. All of what I said at the beginning was midwifed by, you know what nurses do to us when we are coming into this world? There's something called a nursing mother, right? Or a midwife, right? The midwife of Nigeria's current wave of telecommunications progress. He's a nurse himself. He's a medical professional, but he studied his medicine in the field of engineering. He's the one who supervised the sale of licenses to what we now know as the GSM company, under the auspices of the Nigeria Communications Commission. It's my pleasure to acknowledge the presence this morning of a midwife of an industry that has provided thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of direct jobs and indirect jobs. Engineer Ernest Ndukwe. Please put your hands together for him. Okay, so we'll get the ball rolling by taking a welcome address by the birthday boy, Professor Pat Tutomi, a very accomplished and notable Nigerian. And for the first time in the history of CVL, he will be doing this virtually. And again, that's one of the benefits of technology made possible also by telecommunications. Please put your hands together for the birthday boy. Over to you, sir. While we're trying to get connected to him, after Prof's welcome address, we're going to take a musical interlude by TK, who many of you have already seen, the man in black, 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 and black. From the crown of his head to the soles of his feet, he's all black today. After that, we will listen to the chairman of the occasion, another accomplished Nigerian, a female, the first person to set up a finishing school in Nigeria to make some of us polish our rough edges. After that, we will take a keynote speech by the midwife who I spoke about earlier, and there will be a musical interlude by TK once again. Right after the musical interlude, we will invite the panel
Prof,
to
can you unmute,
x-ray
sir?
the topic that
Prof,
we're
can you
discussing
unmute, sir?
today.
Prof,
Then
sir,
there'll be a
can you
plenary
unmute?
session. You will, as a guest, and attendees have the opportunity to make comments, ask questions right after that. After which, we will sing the birthday song.
Prof, this is
And
gift.
come
Can you
and
hear me,
bring
sir?
down these two mountains before Zerubbabel.
Please, we'll love you
We're
to
gonna cut the
unmute and
cakes,
speak
and
into the hall,
everybody's going
sir.
to have a piece of it. And thereafter, we will get pictures with the birthday boy. We'll do it virtually, and we'll take some physically, and we just might be able to pop champagne. If the birthday
you very
boy
much, sir.
is ready,
Thank you very
we
much.
can take him now. If he's not, I can invite TK for the musical interlude, and we can get underway.
Thank you. I am ready. Thank you so very much. It is very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the chairperson, a keynote speaker, dear friends, and a special honor for me to be speaking this morning from some distance. I think perhaps it is appropriate that I am coming virtually because it does make the point about the subject that we are trying to engage with today. But let me begin in thanksgiving. Thanksgiving to God for the gift of life, for the gift of this day. Thanksgiving for the gift of ideas of how society can be made to make progress. Thanksgiving to all of you, especially those who are playing roles, like the keynote speaker, Dr. Ernest Ndukwe, the chairperson. I think especially with the stretch of things, a special tribute to the chairperson, Chief Dr. Fadayomi. I also want to say that the subject matter comes for a very special reason to us at this time, because our country is in great need of transformation to move to a much more productive economy. And technology is going to be very critical to how we make that move. And so the choice of the subject comes both from the heart and from the head. 29 years ago, this series of annual lectures took off with a lecture at the hall of the Commerce House on Idowu Taylor, given by the then Secretary General of the Catholic Bishops' Conference, the very Reverend Dr. Matthew Hassan Kuka. In the 29 years that have passed, the world has changed dramatically. The world has changed very, very significantly. When James Watt redesigned the steam engine and power-based production became possible, the first industrial revolution exploded to us, changed sociology, changed the way people relate to one another. Capitalism in the laissez-faire form of that time was so shocking to the human psyche that writers like Charles Dickens wrote A Tale of Two Cities. The church weighed in with Pope Leo XIII writing the encyclical letter Rerum Novarum, which essentially set the pace for the social doctrine of the Catholic Church as we know it today. But as change takes place, we have to respond. And I was notorious in my teachings at the Lagos Business School for pointing to an axiom that is called Rewan's axiom, which basically says that unless the rate of learning is equal to or greater than the pace of change in the environment, that society or that organization is progressively becoming a dinosaur. It is to affect our country positively and prevent us from becoming a dinosaur nation that this topic entered consciousness. There's nobody who can better delve into this matter than the keynote speaker. I was privileged to be literally there at the onset, having had the pleasure of working with him when he was a chief executive in industry and ran GPT Plessy Telecommunications. I contributed as a consultant, getting the brainstorming going for the direction of the NCC when he arrived in that position. And the rest is history. And as we arrive at the fourth industrial revolution, I am so concerned that we'll be competitive. It is this desire for competitiveness in this fourth industrial revolution that has made CVL turn to Engineer Ernest Ndukwe to provide some thought stimulation. The world is really driven by thought leaders. If he provides some thought stimulation and policy can follow through the thought stimulation, we could create the possibilities of a competitive economy at a time that Africa really should become the manufacturing hub of our planet, if all that we know about the evolution of trade remains. And so I want to thank him for accepting this invitation to give this lecture. I will keep these remarks short by going to a prayer for our country, a prayer for the next generation. Most of my adult life I have spent saying that it is the duty, it is the obligation of every generation to make their shoulders available for the next generation to stand on and see tomorrow more clearly. I have watched, unfortunately, as we have not done enough as a generation to help tomorrow. Every generation we have learned from the years must, out of its relative obscurity, essentially identify its mission and either fulfill or betray it. As we stand on the precipice of our history, we must ask ourselves if Frantz Fanon's words have found any touch in us, and if we have betrayed or tried to advance the mission of our generation. I think that is a time for reflection. And there's just one word that I can use to start what needs to be done, and that word is love. I'm very, very fond of a Gregorian chant. Ubi Caritas. Where there is love and charity, there God is. I pray that God is with us as a country, and that charity would lead us to make choices that will make our children reap the demographic dividend that should come to Africa, and not become, like some are afraid, the dung heap of history, a continent forgotten. I thank you all for coming. God bless you richly. And I thank my dear wife, the chair of the board of CVL, who is here with me, thousands of miles away. And we are going to be with you through the conversations of today. I've had to wake up at 3 a.m. to begin this process. I have a breakfast meeting after we finish all of this with a visiting Nigerian bishop and another one later. And then I will have to speak to an interesting graduate class that I am teaching at Johns Hopkins tonight about the issues that we are engaging on today. I thank you also very much for being there, and say God bless you all. God preserve our dreams. Nigeria will rise up again. Thank you.
All of you are going to collect your passports and take it to the American embassy. Everybody's going to be stamped a visa for just 2 weeks only. So we'll go 1 week, we'll spend 1 week, we'll do the event, and we'll come back. So only the students that are here will not go. Because you have to go to school now. Oh, you don't want to go to school again? Please put your hands together for Prof one more time. All right, we'll take our first musical interlude. If TK is ready, he can begin to come on stage. TK is a world-class performing artist. He's multi-talented. He's a singer and an instrumentalist. So you see that big-sized ship on the stage. It's a toy to him. So TK, over to you.
The sky is never dark when it's daylight. The stars never shine when the sun's out. The birds don't whisper in the night time. So my love for you, baby, is never ending. There's not a feed for my love, 'cause the way you got me feeling, there's not a word. You got me deep with your touch. So my love for you, baby, is never ending. Would you stay with me tonight? 'Cause my love for you, baby, is never ending. Would you stay with me tonight? 'Cause my love for you, baby, is never ending. Lay with me, baby, one more time, 'cause I cannot get you off my memory, darling. Girl, the smile on your face lights me up. So my love for you, baby, is never ending. Would you stay with me tonight? 'Cause my love for you, baby, is never ending. Would you stay with me tonight? 'Cause my love for you, baby, is never ending.
Happy birthday to Professor Patrick Okedinachi Utomi. Many more fruitful years in Jesus' name. This year's theme, creating a competitive edge in the fourth industrial revolution for the telecommunication infrastructure in Nigeria is both timely and crucial. As the world advances into an era defined by artificial
Recording in progress.
intelligence, big data, and digital transformation, the strength of our telecommunications infrastructure will determine how well Nigeria competes on the global stage.
Right after this, provided that it is a scholarship for the two. If there's no scholarship, I will remain rough then. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Madam Chairman. All right, we're getting to the meat of it. But this time, I want to reach out to all of you. We need to fill up the seats in front of us and all around us. If there's any seats in front of you, if you're sitting far away from us, please kindly move forward. We'd like to begin by filling up the first 6 rows on each aisle. So students of Yabatech, our guests, please move forward. As you move forward, you move forward in every area of your life. Airtime will never finish on your phone. Your data will never run out. Petrol will never finish in your generator. The battery of your solar panels and inverter will not break down. Your smartwatch will not be stolen. Your phone will not be stolen. 419ers will not call your GSM numbers. And they will not hack into your WhatsApp. They will not steal all your data. Your internet company will forget to, they will leave your subscription running for free. Even DSTV will forget to log you out when it has expired. Somebody said amen to that. All right. Engineer Nduku, see what you have caused. All right. Earlier, I told you about the midwife of Nigeria's telecoms revolution. I gave a little background. So in addition to Nitel, there was Starcoms, there was Railtel, there was Visaphone, there was Multilinks, and then the big 4 or big 5 who have remained. Actually, big 4, interesting. As we have in consulting, we have the big 4, MTN, we have Globacom, we have Nine Mobile, which was once Etisalat. And then we had one that came into the world as Econet, and then became Vodacom, and then became V-Mobile, and then became Zain, and then became Celtel, and then became Airtel. Now those are the big 4 of the telecoms industry. Engineer Ndukwe is the midwife of all of them. Please put your hands together for an outstanding engineer. He was executive vice chairman of the NCC for 10 years. He midwifed what was globally acclaimed as a transparent process of granting licenses to telecoms companies, for which Nigeria made a lot of money. He's an astute engineer, and today is the chairman of MTN Nigeria. Please welcome with a fantastic round of applause our keynote speaker. In addition to being chairman of, please come, you can start coming, sir. This is just an aside. What he did in the industry has birthed several professions: systems engineering, UI, UX, and all of those things. That industry gave birth to a lot of things that we study in schools today. Yes, Engineer Duko is the cause of all those things. Sometimes when children are talking to their parents these days, the parents don't understand. You know that parents buy expensive phones that they don't know how to use. Am I correct? Then they call their children, come and teach me how to use what I use my money to buy. And this morning, I met somebody who has made her parents proud, and I'm certain would make Engineer Ndukwe proud. A first-class graduate of computer science from Cornerstone University. And I promise that she's going to have an opportunity with Engineer Ndukwe. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Becky Johnson, first-class graduate, Cornerstone University. Come and receive a handshake and a blessings from Engineer Ndukwe. She's a you. I see how she run. Walk with poise like a first-class graduate. Touché. All right, Engineer, I present to you my daughter in whom I'm well pleased. She's my daughter, a biological daughter. I've claimed her from her father. All right, have an opportunity of a handshake and a picture with Engineer Ndukwe. Please stand in front of the... So this is your moment, and you add this to your CV. So that anywhere you're going to get a job, they'll know that you have met the founder or the founding chairman of Nigeria Communications Commission. Congratulations to you.
I hope the slides are going to be up. I hope it's there. Let me start by saying good morning to everyone, and to say that it's a very big pleasure to be here. I'd also like to do a big shout out to Pat Utomi and congratulate him on his birthday. Pat, yeah, let's give him a round of applause, actually. Pat is a hardworking Nigerian. When he told me to give this lecture, I wasn't sure I was going to accept, but because it came from Pat who told me, I said yes. The reason is that I started this journey of telecommunications so many years ago. Can somebody tell me how many years have elapsed since 1975? So I graduated 50 years ago. And I've done nothing else but telecommunications since that time. I read electronics and electrical engineering from the best university in Nigeria. Can anybody guess? Great Ife, yes. And of course, several other courses after that. So, the topic for today is creating a competitive edge in the fourth industrial revolution for telecom infrastructure in Nigeria. And I'll start by saying that no modern economy can be sustained today without an integral telecommunications infrastructure. Robust telecommunications network is important for the economic growth of nations and constitutes a base infrastructure that supports the world economy. Communication is a vital aspect of human existence, and effective telecommunication services enhance living standards and improve productivity and efficiency in other sectors. I guess we all agree with that nearly all the sectors of the Nigerian economy depend very heavily on telecommunication services. Thus, communications and technologies that support it occupy a very strategic position in every aspect of human existence. And nations, businesses would become less competitive and lag behind others if they fail to avail themselves of this vital infrastructure of the information age. And I guess that's why CVL decided to beam a searchlight on the fourth industrial revolution. Current unprecedented breakthroughs or speed of breakthroughs, the disruption caused to almost every industry worldwide, and their potential to transform the global economy and society make this a new industrial revolution. Next slide, please. By embedding sensors and connectivity into objects, including our bodies, we are finding new ways to communicate with machines and enhance human capabilities. And here are some of the key technologies driving the revolution. The first one is AI. Artificial intelligence is a set of technologies that can reason and learn to solve problems or perform tasks that traditionally require human intelligence. It powers innovations like autonomous vehicles, advanced healthcare diagnostics, and personalized customer experiences. As you know, AI is so much in the news today, and America and China are struggling for supremacy in that field, with China coming out and surprising everybody recently with what they call DeepSeek, which makes AI and its derivatives come out more cheaper than what the Americans had designed earlier. The next one is big data. A significant underlying driver of the revolution, big data and analytics refer to collecting and analyzing vast volumes of data to reveal trends and insights. Big data is improving operational efficiencies and changing decision-making in business and the wider society. The next is Internet of Things, IoT, which refers to the network of interconnected devices that exchange data over the internet. A key internet, obviously, is a very key fourth industrial revolution technology. and enables advances like industrial automation, smartphones, or smart homes, real-time health monitoring, and so on. The next is cloud computing. Cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of computing services like apps, storage and networking over the internet, and so on. Cloud services allow businesses to rapidly innovate and scale operations without investing in their infrastructure. I'm sure some of us would have heard about data centers springing up all over the place. And the bigger ones are called hyperscalers. They provide capacity to enable businesses use the cloud rather than buy those systems themselves. Then robotics and automation. Advanced robotics enables sophisticated robots, including humanoid assistants, to perform complex, high-precision tasks independently with high precision. These robots can play vital roles in manufacturing, healthcare, and customer service, often enhancing productivity and safety. There are many robots in the world today that do all kinds of things, including sometimes being your friend. For the people who are lonely, they can get robots to be conversing with them from time to time. Then the more technical ones, augmented reality and virtual reality. Augmented reality overlays digital images on the world around you. And in contrast, virtual reality creates an alternative computer-generated environment that you interact with. These technologies are set to provide immersive experiences for education, remote collaboration, and customer service. The next one is biotech and nanotech. Biotechnology uses living organisms or their derivatives to develop products or technologies. Today, rapid advances in the fields such as genetic engineering, biopharmaceuticals, and agricultural biotech are leading to breakthroughs in medicine and food production. And nanotechnology, manipulating materials at molecular level, creates new materials for medicine and engineering. These are very interesting times we are in. The next is quantum computing. Using the principles of quantum mechanics, quantum computers can operate at tremendously fast speeds than traditional computers. This enables us to solve complex problems in fields like material science and cryptography. The next is blockchain. Blockchain is a decentralized ledger technology that ensures transactions aren't tampered with, underpinning cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Blockchain is also used for digital ID verification, smart contracts, and supply chain management. 3D printing is the next one, which uses computer-aided design to create three-dimensional objects by layering materials like plastics, composites, or biomaterials, also known as additive manufacturing. 3D printing revolutionizes production by enabling rapid prototyping and customized manufacturing, reducing waste and costs. Overall, these technologies represent a revolution due to their exponential growth and potentially profound impact on our lives today. Next slide. The fourth industrial revolution was first introduced in Germany in 2011 with emphasis to integrate cyber-physical systems into production process. This revolution builds upon previous industrial advancements such as mechanization, mass production, and automation enabled by electronics and internet technology. Slide 4, or slide, the next slide. I will skip this slide because most of the things on that slide, I spent time talking about them in slide 2. So let's go to slide 5. Beyond technology, fourth industrial revolution transforms workplace dynamics, emphasizing collaboration between humans and machines, and redefining workplace roles as we can identify in the schematic. I hope I think go to the previous one. This is the one I was dealing with. Then go to now slide 6. Role of telecom infrastructure in the fourth industrial revolution. Telecommunications, like I said before, is an essential infrastructure of the information economy. The infrastructure plays a vital role in the fourth industrial revolution, as it is the very foundation which this technology revolution is built. It provides the foundation for digital transformation, such as Internet of Things, AI, and machine learning, cloud computing, big data analytics, and so on. It also enables businesses enables business transformation, such as automation and efficiency, remote work, and collaboration and development of new business models, provide social and economic impact through access to education, healthcare, job creation, innovation, and digital literacy. Next slide. The role of telecom infrastructure in the fourth industrial revolution. Key enablers of fourth industrial revolution in telecommunications include 5G, ultra-fast communication and connectivity. 5G is known for also low latency. Another technology is fiber optics, which is needed for high-speed data transmission. Then we talk about smart cities and Internet of Things applications, which we'll find in e-health, e-education, fintech, AI, and analytics. Then rural connectivity will require technologies such as satellite and various last mile solutions. Next slide. We'll look at Nigeria's current infrastructure landscape. Where we are, we have about 220 million subscriptions in Nigeria. Internet connectivity is 42.24%. That is the broadband penetration in the country. We have limited broadband infrastructure in the area of fixed wireless systems or fixed systems. Today, some of the telecom operators are working hard at providing broadband to homes. Is the next big thing that will be happening in the very near future. Of course, we have the Nigerian Communications Act as the enabling law for the industry, together with a number of subsidiary legislations and regulations. Next slide talks about opportunities for Nigeria. You can see some ports there describing various things in economic, job creation, global market, technological advancement, social inclusion. I'll also say that all this culminates in increased productivity, better customer service, improved environmental sustainability, and so on. In fact, affects all spheres of human endeavor in Nigeria, and that's why we're focusing on fourth industrial revolution today. Next slide. Though some notable growth has been recorded in the ICT sector, there still remains a lot to be done. Some of you will remember that some of the operating companies were asking for review of tariff recently. I hope all of you in this hall are supporting the review of tariff. I'll tell you why. Businesses exist because they have to make profit. Once businesses stop making profit, what happens to them? They die. Many companies in this country, before what the MC called the Big Four, were there, and many of them are falling by the wayside and died. You need good telecom services, and like I just said, though notable growth has been recorded in the sector, a lot still needs to be done. Broadband level is still at 42%. Without internet and broadband, fourth industrial revolution will not happen in Nigeria. So you need money to expand networks. I was listening to some program recently on channels, and it was amazing how ignorant some of the speakers were. You need to expand facilities. Some people think that we are self-sufficient. Today, there are many parts of the country that are still not connected. We have 220 million lines, but that doesn't mean that we have 220 million subscribers. There are many of you here who have 2 phones. Some have 3. All of them are part of these 220. When you now go to individual subscribers, you might have just about over 100 million people. So there are still many Nigerians who must be connected. And the operating companies must be encouraged to continue to expand their services even to the remotest parts of our country, because every Nigerian must be integrated into this new world order. We cannot just stay in Lagos and the urban centers and we are not able to serve other Nigerians that might be in the rural and underserved areas of the country. Also, we need pervasive fiber optic transmission infrastructure. I talked about fiber earlier as the infrastructure that is required to provide high-speed data transmission. You need fiber all over the country, and we hardly have that. A much higher penetration of high-speed internet and broadband facilities are still required in many more business premises, educational institutions, and homes. Every university in this country, if it doesn't have high-speed internet, is an analog university in today's world. And there are still many universities in this country who have not taught it an essential infrastructure to have high-speed internet in their campuses. Not just for teaching, but for every student in the university to use, whether they are in their halls of residence or whether they are in classrooms. Internet and broadband is an essential infrastructure of the 21st century. You can't do much without it. Fourth Industrial Revolution applications can only ride on a modern, solid, dependable ICT infrastructure. Next slide. Then how do we improve infrastructure for this fourth industrial revolution? We need policy and regulation improvements, including strengthening spectrum planning and harmonization, encouraging regional collaboration with various organizations, WATRA, ITU, International Telecoms Union, African Telecoms Union, and other such organizations. And also encouraging private sector partnerships. In that program I watched on channels, one of the speakers said that we should encourage government to bring back. That we should encourage government to bring back NITEL. That is because NITEL is not there to compete with the private operating companies, and that's why companies are asking for a review of tariff. I want to remind in person that NITEL, when they were there, were only able to provide 400,000 lines, mobile lines, for the whole of this country of several millions of people. That time, I'm sure these young people would have dreamt of owning a mobile phone. You had to apply. The waiting time was like 2 years to get a new phone, an analog phone in those days. Nigeria was lagging behind many countries. Even Cameroon started GSM before Nigeria. So, we should not be reminded of those years. When you wanted to do international call, you had to go to the office and queue. They'll give you tally number. They'll call you, then you go into a cubicle and make international call. We should never go back to yesteryears. Let's look forward, increase competition in the industry. If possible, license more operating companies, let them expand facilities, and you must enable those companies to charge the right tariffs that will keep them in business and continue providing services for the country. Infrastructure. I've talked about infrastructure expansion. We need to increase fiber optic cable. When I was in government in those days, I was talking about fiber without borders. Some of us had the idea that the whole of Africa should be laced with off-take fiber infrastructure to make this continent move forward. That still hasn't been achieved up till now. It was the same dream we had for Nigeria when we introduced what we call Wire Nigeria program. And the idea is to also install fiber all across Nigeria in anticipation of this fourth industrial revolution. That still hasn't been achieved, though the current Minister of Communications is talking about 90 kilometers of fiber. 90, do I have the correct figure? But major fiber rollout for the country. And that is good news, though I am worried about who is going to maintain it and who is going to manage it. Once we have it right, it sounds like a good idea. Some companies have deployed 5G. That is also a very important technology for fourth industrial revolution. Because of the speed and low latency. The deployment today has been a bit slow. Only one or two companies actually, in fact, two companies have the 5G license because the license fee was quite high. And that is also why, in order to encourage companies, spectrum fees sometimes need to be at such level that it will enable all operators have those frequencies to be able to roll out. But today, just two companies, and there was a third company called Mafab that got the license over 2 years ago. They still haven't started operating because money required for rollout is massive. There must also be digital inclusion programs, digital literacy campaigns, subsidization of services in underserved areas, and so on. And let's go to the next slide. One of the biggest challenges of the fourth industrial revolution is inequality. Wealthy nations have far more technological infrastructure and few accessibility challenges, which translate directly to the population being more savvy than in developing countries. Citizens in many developing countries may be facing limitations such as cost of connectivity, limited signal coverage, limited access to smart devices and computers, and so on. Next slide. Role of stakeholders. I think I must have talked about this in some of my previous slides. So I think we move on to the next slide. Current state of infrastructure. Today, Nigeria represents a nation of major concern to its citizens and the international community because of its inability to industrialize and embrace essential technologies that are required to facilitate sustainable economic development of the nation. Since modern infrastructure is required for sustainable economic growth, infrastructure inadequacy Infrastructure inadequacy may explain the reason why the country hosts one of the highest poverty levels of the world. Next slide. I will skip this slide and go to the next slide. Nigeria can enhance global competitiveness through its infrastructure development, good regulatory environment, digital inclusion, technological innovation, cybersecurity, education and skills development, international collaboration, and so on. Slide 17. Next slide. Today, mobile coverage extends to over 72% of the population, yet broadband penetration remains at approximately 42.25. Next slide. Let's go to next slide. Challenge for Nigeria. Okay. For today's technologies, for the digital age, people require a minimum level of education to be able to use them, even when access exists. I'd like the MC to please take his seat. I don't like to be hurried. It took me time to prepare this presentation, and I don't like being interrupted when I'm talking. Okay? Today's technologies for digital age, people require a minimum level of education to be able to use them, even when the access exists. Therefore, there is need for a holistic approach to be adopted in tackling the issue of digital divide, while attention is being focused on infrastructure divide. We must also look at what I call the literacy divide. The ability to read and write is a basic requirement for membership of the digital community. In most developing countries, including Nigeria, the literacy divide is still very wide. There is therefore need for governments in state and local government levels to focus on policies that can raise the literacy levels in their communities. The youths of tomorrow must all be exposed to even the most basic of education to equip them for participation in the digital age and the fourth industrial revolution. Next slide, please. I'll go to next slide for recommendations. Go, next slide. Yeah, thank you. Cybersecurity measures are important, and we need to invest in frameworks to protect data and build trust. I've talked about infrastructure investment. I've talked about public and private partnerships, and I've talked about regulatory frameworks, and also digital education. Upskilling the workforce for digital skills is very important. Next slide. In concluding, the fourth industrial revolution offers Nigeria a unique opportunity to transform its economy and enhance global competitiveness. Collaboration among stakeholders, government, private sector, and international partners is essential for realizing this vision. Nigeria must chart its path to digital leadership, and I want to commend CVL for putting a searchlight to address some of the challenges that are bedeviling the industry today. Like I said before, we need to invest more on infrastructure, foster skills development, promote digital transmission for us to achieve the leadership in Africa and be part of the global economy. I'd also like to end by saying that next revolution for Nigeria here must be on power. Without electric power, it's an essential infrastructure even for the fourth industrial revolution. If electricity, which was the infrastructure for the second industrial revolution. Electricity was the infrastructure for the second industrial revolution. We are still lagging behind. We have not scaled that. In many countries, electricity supply is taken as given. Whatever Nigeria must do to improve on it must be done. So I'll end by congratulating my friend Pato for identifying the need for focus on the fourth industrial revolution and for Nigeria to build the necessary infrastructure needed for creating competitive edge in Africa and in the global scheme of things. We must be able to give something back to the world. And this is our hope in this gathering today. So thank you very much, everyone, and happy birthday again to Pat Utomi.
What technology is to the fourth industrial what telecommunications is to the fourth industrial revolution is what electricity was to the second industrial revolution. How many people listened to that? You did. All right. Please put your hands together for yourselves. All right. We're taking it further and doing that very quickly. Having listened to such an educative and informative session from someone who was a participant. We didn't listen to theory, we listened to how things were done. Nigeria has 42% internet penetration, and so we still have a long way to go. We're going to discuss the lecture after taking this short musical interlude to wake us up and to get us gingered to listen to the panelists who will be here for 25 minutes. I'd like to invite TK one more time. Please put your hands together for him for a short musical interlude. So that they can begin to prepare. The panelists are Professor Emmanuel Emeyono, who's a professor from the Southern Connectivity State University. Southern Connectivity? Did you mean Connecticut? They wrote connectivity here, maybe because we are doing telecommunications. All right, Southern Connecticut State University, USA. We're also going to have our keynote speaker as part of the panel. The moderator of the panel is Dr. Godwin Ichimi, who is an associate professor and director of international cooperation and public affairs at the NIIA. And we're going to have engineer Wole Ogunsoya, who's represented by Akin Fadare. So Mr. TK, if you're ready, please let's do it very quickly so that we can have the panel session. Thank you.
When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over over troubled water. I will lay me down. When you're down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your pain. Oh, when darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. Sail on, silver girl, sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See how you shine. Whoa, if you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind. I will ease your mind. Thank you very much.
That's one of my many students of music. I taught him how to sing. Ah, what do you mean by ah? Okay, let me do my own performance. What song do you want me to sing? What do you want me to sing? The same song he sang? No, I already taught him that one. I don't want to outshine him since I taught him that one. If I sing that one, all of you will fall in love with me. You'll not like him anymore. And I'm proud of him. What's the title of the song, Goga? I want you to tell them by yourself. I don't want them to hear it from my mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, panel session begins now. I'd like to invite first the moderator, Dr. Godwin Ichimi. Please put your hands together for him. Dr. Godwin is Director of International Corporations and Public Affairs at NII, Nigeria Institute of International Affairs. All right, please take your seats. Professor Emmanuel Emeyono from Southern Connecticut State University. Mr. Akin Fadare, COO of Geoplex Group, representing engineer Wale Ogunsanya. And of course, our guest speaker will join them, the keynote speaker, engineer Ernest Ndugwe. If Professor Sam Gobadia has arrived, has he? No. All right. So we'll go ahead. We have 25 minutes. So I will be the accurate timekeeper. All right, after the panel session, you can start to get your questions ready. So please listen and take notes. We will entertain a few questions, and that would be it. All right, please go ahead. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to begin by joining the entire House in congratulating Professor Patu Tome on this very wonderful and auspicious day. I don't think Professor Patu Tome needs any introduction in the Federal Republic of Nigeria and beyond. May God continue to bless him and keep him, and grant him many years more of fruitful service to our dear country. And talking about fruitful service, I must also commend the guest speaker, whom I have admired from afar for a very long time. And I'm proud to say that we come from the same university, although he was a quarter of a century ahead of me. Thank you for what you have done for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I want to stand on the protocol as established so we can make progress. And because I see a very high representation of young people, I want to begin my entry into the discourse with the young ones here as a point of departure. Our big uncle, for the purpose of this meeting, I will grant him the rank of a professor, Professor Ndugwe, talked about digital education. And I want to note that Nigeria has the highest out-of-school number of children in the world. As at 2023, we have 20 million out-of-school young people. And these are the people that will drive the next generation of affairs in this country, including our preoccupation with the digital world. So I want to begin with you, Prof. Can you please speak to the issue of digital education, particularly as it affects young people, the educational system in Nigeria, and the prospect for competitiveness in this sector? Thank you.
Thank you very much, moderator. Also, let me thank my very good friend, Professor Patu Tome, and congratulate him on his birthday. The birthday message I sent to Pat earlier this morning, I told him, you are 1 in 100 million. He's an inspiration. He's somebody who tirelessly loves other people, loves Nigeria, loves education, and so on and so forth. I want to thank the staff of CVL. I also want to thank our keynote speaker. I thoroughly enjoyed his talk this morning. He hit all the right notes. And I also want to thank the chairman. I see that she is back. The issue of the fourth industrial revolution and the prospect that it holds for Nigeria, for the African continent, is a very important issue. However, we have to crawl before we stand, then before we walk. I'm glad the keynote speaker made mention of something as basic as electricity, for instance, which is taken for granted in many, many parts of the world. Many years ago, I did my sabbatical at Covenant University, and then it used to be, one of the selling points used to be that they had constant electricity at Covenant University. And I used to say, if you go, to say universities in UK and US and other places, and say a distinguishing feature of a university is that they have constant electricity, people will burst out laughing, because having constant electricity is taken just for granted in many, many other parts of the world. So there are so many things that are taken for granted which we need before we start talking about being full partakers in the digital revolution. So and that brings me to the points, the questions the moderator raised. We have so many out of school children. We have so many who are excluded even from the second and third, not to talk of the fourth industrial revolution. And it will be good to address those issues. And that is where the digital revolution comes in, by the way. We are currently in session at my university, and I had to take a trip for some official purposes. But my classes are still going on as if I'm there physically. By the purposeful and efficient deployment of digital technology, we can address the issue of out-of-school children. Learning no longer has to take place in a physical space, like in a school. By using smartphones and other smart devices, we can take education and learning to people. For those of you who are older or a bit older, you remember the Nomadic Education Initiative. How many people remember the Nomadic Education Initiative we had decades ago? The idea was basically to take education to the nomads so that as they rear their cows and so on, the digital revolution has simplified that. There is no reason why we should have like 20 million or more out of school children. We can, by smart deployment of digital technology, reduce to almost zero the percentage or the number of young people who don't have basic education. And you do require basic education to take advantage of the benefits of the fourth industrial revolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our guest speaker made reference to digital literacy. I want to ask the next member of the panel how he thinks we can enhance digital education. And I'm scaling up the conversation now from those who are out of school to those who are already in formal systems of education, in formal education. Most of the ones you have here and other levels below and above them. How do you think we can address the concern of digital illiteracy that our guest speaker talked about?
All right, thank you very much, sir. Permit me to also say happy birthday to Prof. Prof is a leader that some of us look forward to. We so much appreciate his visions. We like so much also the opportunities that he gave to many Nigerians, including someone like me, to be here today. Before I speak also, I'd like to give a kind of unreserved apologies from my chairman that he was not here today. It was so much I've loved to be here. As I speak today, I will be talking from my mind. and I will be responsible. And you can hold me accountable for whatever I will be saying. So go back to the questions. Digital literacy is one of the problems that have been identified as issues that we're facing with telecommunications in Nigeria, and which, if we adequately address, will go a long way, to help us to play in this competitive environment. There are different methods that can be used. I will mention some of them, but before that, I think it's important to understand what we're actually talking about. I listened attentively to Prof, during the presentations. He is someone that we also admire so much because of his selfless service to this nation. We thank God for where we are today, Nigeria, in terms of telecommunication. However, we are far from where we can be. We're a country that is blessed with talents, a lot of them. And what we see is that we are failing to harness from this pool of talent that we have because we are not adequately educating them. I studied electrical engineer as well. And right from when I was in university, oil and gas company were reaching out to us. They come to the university, they made us understand and coach us and guide us to come and work in the oil and gas industry. So as soon as while we're in school, I actually picked my courses so that I can work in the oil and gas industry. So it starts with the young ones, right from, catching them young. If we're able to address this, we will play less of catch-up. And what we have are pools of talent that are already aligned to what we aim to achieve. One of the points that I also want us to take note is that a lot of us today are talking less of telecommunication. We hear a lot about oil and gas, and thank God for that. But I'm not sure how many of us understand that oil and gas contribute just about 6% to the GDP of this country. However, telecommunication is contributing about 22%. That is massive. In addition, I can tell you that 50% of what we do in the oil and gas ride on the backbone of proper telecommunication. We acquire a lot of data that are used for decision making. What that means is that when we delay to get these data to those that will use it to make the right decisions, rigs that cost millions per day are on standby, and the entire operations data that are being gathered are not available for right decision making. Now, some of us have the privilege of traveling abroad, and what we see is that once we get to the airport or get to most malls, we have free internet, free. We think that those countries are stupid. They are not. What are they trying to do? They are educating. They are creating educations. They are creating opportunities for people to research. They are creating opportunities for people to find out, including even words, including interpretations, including ability to interpret languages. So for us in Nigeria, I will suggest that God helping us, we need to start by making internet free and accessible. And I think as a country, we have what it takes. Interestingly, free internet is a medium actually for advertisement. What it means is that if we put it in place, we can't generate the cost, the money that we put in place to put those internet in place. In addition, companies that are creating jobs, opportunities, they have this medium to reach out to let people know about what they do. So this literacy gap will be quickly bridged by making provision for free internet access. Our children, our youth, they should not have to be switching off data because it's expensive. They should have access to it. Each time we talk, they should be able to go to the internet and Google it up and look it up. Companies should be able to advertise to let people know what they're doing. And that will help individuals to make career decisions, to make buying decisions, and this will help the economy at large. So I don't want to go into the different opportunities or options that we can go into, but I will stick to let's make internet free, let's make it readily available, and let's do whatever we can. And once we have that medium, the knowledge will spread, and the literacy gap will be bridged. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Clearly, we have an ideal here. This is an ideal situation. This is, in fact, given our reality, this is a utopian condition that he has painted for us to reach. But like he correctly pointed out, while it sounds very utopian in this setting, in certain climes it is taken for granted. I also schooled in the United Kingdom, and from the day I entered my university to the day I left, I never lacked internet for 1 second. Not one single second. I remember the day there was a downturn for like 4 hours. And as a doctoral candidate, I received so many apologies via my email. It was as if somebody died. So that's an ideal. But the speaker, our guest speaker, just informed us that these things cost money. And unless these companies are making money, they will fold up and go to better clients. Better in terms of the fact that they will make better profits wherever they're going. So clearly, we have a challenge here. How do we ensure unfettered internet access? This is the idea that he has painted. And I would think that the government has a critical role to play here. And because I believe also that the government cannot do everything, so that takes me to the next question I want to pose for you. What kind of public-private partnership arrangement would you suggest, given your experience, that will ensure that, just like the guest speaker said, access to internet is greatly subsidized such that it can reach as many people as possible to make that critical difference?
Thank you very much. This thing should not be undertaken by the government, just like Dr. Ernest Ndukwe rightly said, because those of us who are older will remember the days of NITEL, the days of Nigerian Airways, even the days of NEPA as it is. We do have serious issues with leadership, and that cascades down and negatively affects government institutions, which we experience every day. However, with the right kind of leadership, which Dr. Ndukwe exemplifies, if you think of the kind of money that came in to drive the GSM revolution in the country, Nigeria made money selling the spectrum to different companies like MTN and so on and so forth. So instead of having to invest billions of dollars, the Nigerian government, correct me if I remember, the licenses were being sold for $250 million at a point, $285 million. So traditionally, what would have happened was the government will set up an agency, an organization to provide mobile telephony to Nigerians, and then they will allocate and appropriate billions and billions of dollars. Nobody, or except the very well-connected, will have very few lines and so on. But by using very ingenious private-public partnership arrangement, we saw that within a very short time, we had the telecom companies competing with each other to get Nigerians to sign on board. So the issue is the things my colleague has described. All those things are doable. There are companies that see opportunities in providing free internet access. Apart from the service, they also collect data, by the way. That's an aspect that gets overlooked at times. When you provide a free internet, it means that the points at which you collect data, they increase exponentially. And then the data collected can also be monetized. So it is possible to have effective, pervasive internet access if the right regulatory framework gets put in place, and if the government officials that have to provide the regulatory framework, if they were more patriotic, if they were more encouraging of the private sector, the people that have to take the risks to make this happen. The money, as it were, it's not the biggest obstacle in my opinion, because there are companies that, if given the opportunity to sponsor those kinds of things, but they have the opportunity to advertise, they have the opportunity to reach the critical mass of people, right? They will be willing to invest in things like that. But getting the appropriate regulatory framework, it's, in my opinion, more important than the money. If the appropriate regulatory framework is put in place, I believe that the money will follow. And a good example I'm still saying is the GSM revolution we had. If we are looking at the money it was going to take to deploy the towers, get the bandwidth, and so on and so forth, it will have been prohibitively expensive for the Nigerian government to afford. But once the right framework, policy framework, and regulatory frameworks were put in place, it is history. We are experiencing it. So it's an important goal to aim for, and if we aim for it and commit the appropriate resources, and when I mean resources, I'm not talking about money, both intellectual resources, build a sound policy and regulatory framework for it, it is possible to accomplish. So let's not just think about the dollars involved. If we can think it through, we can find a way of having effective, reliable, pervasive internet connection. Thank you very much.
I have a concern here. Thank you very much. I have a concern here. When I first got this invite and I saw the word infrastructure in the theme, I said to myself, what level of infrastructure are we talking about here? First, one way to look at it is that there are fundamental infrastructural bases upon which the IT infrastructure itself will rest. The guest speaker has talked about electricity. We can talk about simple generic things like security for the critical infrastructure that has been deployed. We are already talking about education and all the myriad of problems associated with it. And this is why I mentioned that the government has a critical role to play. Clearly, there are gaps in policy that do not have the fourth industrial revolution in mind when engaging with issues that have to do with our national development. We've been informed here that it is impossible to think of development without any facet of development without bringing in the telecommunication industry. So what are these gaps in your mind when you look at the public domain? What are the gaps that you see in public policy? Just a few critical areas that you think should be acting as the driving force behind our quest to catch up with the fourth industrial revolution. I want you to take a few, and if you also have a few that you think Because we need to walk away from here with something we can say to government and the managers of state that, look, you need to do A, B, C in these areas in order to begin to address these fundamental gaps. So what are these gaps that you see in public policy architecture of our country?
All right, thank you, sir. So the gaps are numerous. I will mention the ones that I can mention. And hopefully, doctor will assist as well. Now, I also want us to look at how critical, this sector is to the economy of this country. If you look at global statistics, telecoms is contributing about 4% to global GDP. But in Nigeria, it's contributing about 20%. What does that mean? It means that if the world is taking these telecoms seriously, then we need to take it much more seriously. What we have seen as a young Nigerian, and permit me, I'm not, this is me speaking as a Nigerian, is that in the rest part of the world, we see a government that is put in place like a mother to support those weaker ones in the family, to help them to come up. However, in my own father's land, I think I keep closing my eyes to see that I have a government or that is really profit-driven, wanting to make profit. If it's not bringing money, then it doesn't, it doesn't attract the required attention. There are platforms, there are sacrifices, there are infrastructures, there are things that need to be put on ground to allow the likes of MTN and Globalcon and others to put in their technical know-how to grow the economy of this country. I'll take, for example, fiber optics. I run business for the business owners, and I know that it's very difficult for us to put money in where we cannot justify that there will be returns. And this is where government come in. It will be unreasonable for MTN to go to my village and start running fiber optics cable. It won't make sense. If they do it, somebody may get queried and lose his job. This is where government come in. We need to provide that platform, those infrastructures, and one of them is fiber optics. If we're talking of 5G, we're not going to do it with CDMA, because those equipment are obsolete already, and they will not be able to carry the type of signals that we're talking about. So, fiber optics is one of them. We need to put that in place. And that is not cheap. It's expensive. But this is why we have a government that will create that enabling environment to make it easy for investors to come and ride on it. Investors are not just coming with money, they are coming with technical know-how as well. So we need to entice them by making sure that they will not be the one to be creating infrastructures like fiber optics. Let's look at the right of ways. That can be frustrating to some investors. Because in other parts of the world, where telecom is contributing 4% to the GDP, they actually come out to help these companies to thrive and survive. So if we're expecting MTN and Glo, thank God Glo did a major, subsurface fiber optics. But if we're expecting, investors to come and start building our fiber optics network, then we will not really be able to play in these fourth revolutions. It's unfortunately the way it is. I still want to go back to legislations, because as much as we aspire and we've seen the importance of this to the economy of this country, without adequate legislatures. It becomes difficult for investors to come in. It even becomes difficult for basic things, to be put in place to encourage the business to thrive. Take, for example, the current tariff increase that we're talking about. Tariff increase is not starting today. It started a while back because it was required. But why are we getting the attention now? Because the cow that is producing that milk is struggling now to produce enough milk to give back. Because if MTN is not declaring profit, guess what? There will be no tax to pay. They are not paying the tax, then the top will feel it. And so what we have done now is, let's take a little bit back and then give them so that they can produce a little bit more. We must feed that cow that is producing that milk. Otherwise, we're going to run out of milk. And this is, so when we're talking of infrastructure, fiber optics is one. How about the legislatures to make sure that things can be done properly? So that's another. There's a lot, and I really don't want to take our time, but let's just keep thinking about it. The internet that we talked about is wanting to provide the internet. How about the data security? How about the securities? There are countries now, example Norway, where there are data protection, there are policies already in place for how you manage the data that you receive from me, my CV. How you process my CV, what you do with those informations. I'm not sure we're there yet. There are regulators that go to audit companies to make sure that the data that they receive are being managed and stored accordingly. So, engineer mentioned about how far we are from second revolutions, and we're in the fourth revolution. We're talking about, which is good, because the fourth revolution is inevitable. The world will leave us behind. There will be sixth, there will be seventh, and they all come out of telecoms, whether we like it or not. We have not seen the best of data analytics yet. It's just coming. So we're talking of power. How much is MTN spending on foiling those base stations? There's a lot. How are they profitable? Diesels all over the place. Look at the cost of moving diesels. We have relatives that supply diesels to those base stations, moving it in e-luxes and trucks. How about if we have powers in all those base stations? Thank God to the initiatives where we have some synergies in terms of mass. How about we have a government that set up mass and where they are supposed to be as part of their infrastructural development, so that MTN does not have to worry about, I'm going to put my mass here, I'm going to pay the right of way to put it up. The government can use those mass to install long-range CCTV cameras that will help us to survey and take care of our security issues. Those are infrastructures, and once you put it up, you tell them, okay, go ahead. We need to provide telecommunication service to this community. Don't worry about the mass. Don't worry about the right of way. Just bring your engineer, let them go and install mass there, and let them make sure that area is covered. Those are infrastructure that we're talking about. Until, as a government, we do our own part, we're going to struggle. And we're talking about competitiveness. Competitiveness means that we're running, you're on your own. If you decide to stay back, no problem. The race, as soon as the whistle is blown, the race will continue. So we have to do our own part and make sure that we can run with the rest of the world. Thank you, sir.
You want to come in at this point?
Okay, thank you very much. The question is the gaps, the infrastructural gaps and the gaps in policy and regulations that kind of make it difficult for the kind of participation we would like to have in the fourth industrial revolution. The role of government is very important insofar as we identify what is appropriate for government to do, and then what should best be left for the private sector. However, the part the government plays is very, very critical. I wish there was a way of discussing this without pointing out at some of the lapses in the way we are governed, whether from the executive or the legislative arms of government. Nationally, and even in some of the states, we seem not to have our priorities right. We seem not to have our priorities right. Oftentimes you find out that a lot of resources gets committed to sustaining the people who run the levers of government. We put in a lot of money to just maintain those who are in leadership. And this is not only at the governmental level, like those in the executive arm or judiciary or legislative. Many of our institutions, especially the government-owned ones, like universities and on and on and on, it's quite common to find a situation. Some years ago, I was invited as a keynote speaker to speak to one of the first-generation universities. I got to the airport, they sent like a Mercedes-Benz station wagon and on and on and on to pick me up. When I got there, there was no projector to project like this keynote speaker did today. I couldn't project my PowerPoint presentations. Meanwhile, I had been told that this is one of the leading ICT universities in Nigeria. So when I finished, they were asking me, you know, all these things you said are nice, but where are we going to get the money? And I had to make mention of the fact that with some readjustment or reallocation of resources targeted at the things that are really important, it is possible for us to make a headway. So, in terms of some policy gaps, there needs to be reallocation. If you look at our national budget, for instance, you can see there that there are some misplaced priorities. For one, the kinds of funds committed to running the various executive branches of government, both at the national and the subnational levels, is just humongous relative to things like education and on and on and on. And just to highlight some of the wrong priorities, I don't know how many of you paid attention to a recent headline that said that the members of the National Assembly, the relevant committee, they were asking for 480 million naira from the vice chancellors of Nigerian universities in order to approve their 2025 budget. I don't know how many of you saw that headline, right? I did, you know. So that highlights some of the problem. When you have the lawmakers, a vital aspect of our governance system, demanding for bribes from vice chancellors in order to approve their 2025 budget, you will begin to appreciate the magnitude of issue problems that they have. Those are some of the resources that could otherwise be allocated to ICT, to better equipping the students, and so on and so forth. And then finally, I think that we need to decentralize some of these regulations. We need to decentralize so that you might, like, I live in the state of Connecticut. You find that we have the big telecom, the big internet providers operating, but you also have smaller companies, right, that can operate as niche companies for all kinds of reasons, then they might find it valuable and needful to cover a particular area that will be neglected by the big telecom companies and so on. We need to decentralize how we do a lot of things. And that will create more opportunities and open up the space. If we didn't even decentralize and start involving private sector companies in our telecom, you can imagine where we'll be by now. So we need to decentralize a lot about, a lot of the way we govern telecom and other aspects of our national life. Thank you very much.
I think I can see the look being given to me by the MC, but I will just request that you let me take this last bit of this discussion because it's very critical to all of this. But before I move to that, let me just say the most important thing standing out of the last two contributions is the fact that we certainly need to reconfigure, recalibrate our public space. I don't think there are many Nigerians that we doubt that we run one of the most expensive democracy in the world. I think that can be taken for granted as a truism. And when you add the index of corruption to that, we are definitely shortchanging the future in which we hope that we will be able to catch up with the industrial revolutions that are going on in the world. I think that's the most important thing for me from the last two contributions. The last bit of the conversation I want us to wrap up in a few minutes is the fact that Engineer Ndukwe has made reference to the fact that Nigeria needs to take its place, if not in the global digital space, at least in Africa. And since in everything we pride ourselves in being one of the leaders, telecoms cannot be an exception. But we cannot do this without strategic partnership in the region and across the entire African continent. So, just a minute or two, what would you recommend by way of strategic partnership at these different levels? National, and by national I mean the subnational entities, both public and private, regional and continental, that will at least assist Nigeria in bridging some of these obvious gaps that are undermining the prospects of our achieving our telecom objective. I think you have about a minute or two to make that point, and then we can begin to wrap up. Each of you, Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. So, partnership is a must, and it has to be done. However, there are some few things that need to be put in place, otherwise those partnerships may not last. For me, I think there is a need to convene a sections of think tanks and really look into this and come up with a way forward. While we're growing up in schools, we're taught not to copy because we want to exercise our brain and try and come up with ideas and all the rest. However, Nigeria problem, I think, and I will advise that we should go to countries where things are working and copy. Let's copy what they're doing, and let's see how we can implement it. If we have those in place, it becomes easy. Part of the benefit of copying it is that we will bring investors and partnership to help solve the problem. Take, for example, Canada. What are they doing that is helping them, that is making Nigerians to want to go, despite the harsh temperatures that you have there? Why do we have what I call oligopoly in the telecom sector? We gave license to about 200 companies. Why is it only 4 or 5 are able to thrive? Let's remove those roadblocks. Let's create that environment for as many Nigerians, investors that can invest in this sector to come up, so that we are not relying on MTN, we are not relying on Glo, Etisalat, and Airtel alone. You know, we are in the oil and gas sector. We are a Nigerian company, and by the grace of God today, we stand shoulder by shoulder with the likes of Schlumberger and Baker Hughes, because the government gave us that enabling environment. We know what to do, but we need that environment. We're bringing investors into the country. We don't need the government anymore. Once we have that platform and enable environment, we bring investors into the country, we discuss, we come up with ideas, and we move things forward. So there is a need for me to, let's come together, let's pull as many that has the interest of this country at heart, and let's take a case studies of one of these countries where things are working, and let's copy one or two things, and let's start replicating them in Nigeria. After that, I'm sure it will come with investors, it will come with partnership, and we will take our rightful places in the scheme of things when it comes to Africa. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. There is need for partnership at different levels. Some of the obstacles are regulatory in nature. We can fix that ourselves, if you get what I mean. Some of it are financial and resource-based. There are different types of grants for telecommunication connectivity and inclusion of people who have been excluded. There are, all kinds of grants that exist for that. We need to partner with the donors and those funding it. We also need to partner. There are some companies that are doing well that might be willing to donate to enhancing inclusion when it comes to connectivity. But we also need to clean up our house. At times, companies, institutions avoid coming to Nigeria because some of them have been burnt, some of them have had very bad experiences, some of them fear for the reputational damage that can be brought to bear upon them as a result of being entangled in all kinds of things. And I'm of the opinion that we really need to tell ourselves the truth in order to begin to address some of these issues. Companies have come to our country and the leaders have demanded price of them. The leaders have insisted on collecting bribes. If you remember the 6.6 billion gas pipeline that involved a subsidiary of Halliburton, KBR, Japan Gas, and on and on and on. The time really, in my opinion, we understand some of the things going on. We kind of go along as if those things don't matter. These are some impediments. There are some countries that are very tough, anti-corruption laws, like the Foreign Corrupt Act of 1970 in the U.S. If a U.S. company comes here and in as much as asks to give bribes, and they do, the company can sink as a result of that. So as a country, I really think that the time has come for us to be truthful, confront these challenges and begin to resolve them that pose obstacles to forming meaningful partnership. And then, like you rightly said, some of these things have already been thought out, right? Others, like when it comes to data protection, you have the EU data protection laws, you have data protection laws in the US. I'm glad Nigeria, the president on June 12th, last 2023, signed the Nigerian Data Protection Act. We then need to begin to implement those, because these are some of the things that make it possible for companies to have confidence in our data privacy and protection laws, to know that if they come here to do business, if they enter into partnerships, that their data will be secure and so on and so forth. That law is now in effect, having been signed by the president. We should implement that and implement all the other things that can build confidence in our telecommunication system and bring the kind of partners we need to leapfrog our telecommunication system. Thank you very much.
So clearly, we do have quite a significant volume of policies that only require assiduous implementation. I could add to that fact that we also have national cybersecurity policy document and strategy and so many of such documents. I know that this very last one that I mentioned is due for review this year. The last one haven't come on stream in 2020. There are quite a number of documents, strategic documents like that put together and assiduously implemented will at least give some semblance of focus to the pursuit of our telecom objectives. And with that last comment, let me wrap up by, in particular, thanking the guest speaker for dropping on this podium a huge elephant that has multiple sides. I am sure that we will continue this conversation, examining and interrogating different facets of his speech for another 2 or 3 hours, if not more. But the bit that we have said, I will encourage CVL to have a transcript of this ready, and knowing the thoroughness that Professor Patutome goes about with things of the intellect, I am sure some policy advisory or policy brief will be coined out of this and be made available to the appropriate quarters. It will surprise you to know that many people in government, and I'm sure our Professor Ndukwe here will confirm, are actually in serious need of critical information to support what it is that they do. And this kind of arrangement produces those kind of critical knowledge that needs to feed into policy and receive feedback all the way back to those who are practitioners in the field. I want to thank the panelists on behalf of our hosts, the CVL, for your immense contribution. I am very sure that once they call upon you next time on something equally as topical, you will oblige them. We want to thank again our engineer, the chair, and everybody that the protocol has atomized before we come on board. I appreciate you, and I think this brings my session to a close. MC, over to you.
And I want to thank you, the moderator, for rounding up on time. All right, so all of you have to wait on the stage for a group photograph. You can't leave just yet. I'd like to invite the keynote speaker and the chairman of the occasion. Please join us on the stage for a group photograph. Keynote speaker, chairman, and the panelists. This is a very important moment. You can drop your brochures so that your hands are not busy. Don't worry, they are safe. And right after that, we will move to the cutting of the cake. TK, please. You can come up stage now to do the birthday song. I want to take this opportunity to recognize a professor of electrical engineering, Professor Peter Olusheyi from the University of Lagos. Please put your hands together for him. And also from the Department of Electrical Engineering, the head of lab, Engineer Abioye. And we have the final year students of Electrical Engineering from the University of Lagos. Please put your hands together for all of them. And we also have Smarton House from Ikorodu. They've been here all morning. What? It's like you people have been waiting for that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Smarton House, Ikorodu. Yes. They're the best dressed people in this place today. White shirts with Ghanaian fabric and multiple colors. Thank you, Smart and House. We appreciate you. Yes, we're moving to the cutting of the cake. So, of course, Isioma will lead the guests. We need a cutlass, please. Ushers, can you get us a cutlass? Okay, sorry, get us a machete. Okay, give us a sword if you don't have a cutlass or a machete. All right, you brought a knife. Okay, we'll manage the knife. Okay, so we're all going to spell. So the birthday boy is Patrick Okedinachi Utomi. So we're going to spell Patrick Okedinachi Utomi. Are you all ready? Are you all ready? No. The chairman sends me, the keynote speaker sent me a text message that he's going to give free data to everybody here today. Even though the message has not landed on my phone, I know it is coming. All right, so if you don't spell Patrick with me, it may not land on your phone. So are you all ready? All right, everybody, can the Vice Chancellor of Benson Idahosa University please join us? VC, Benson Idahosa University, BIU. The foremost private university in Nigeria, Archbishop Benson Idahosa. All right, and that's my surname, by the way, Benson. So I'm the son of. You can fill in the gaps. You can fill in the gaps. All right, give me a patriotic P. Give me an aerodynamic A. Give me a terrific T. Give me a robotic R. Give me an international I. Give me a cute C. And give me a kinetic K. Thank you very much. Happy birthday to Professor Utomi. Many happy returns. Thank you for doing this year in, year out. Can we have, all right, everybody can take their seats. Everybody can go back to their seats. Thank you very much. So we're going to take turns to come up stage to take pictures. Please wait until you are called or wait until your group is called. I'm going to call everybody. I'm going to call the widows. I'm going to call the students. I'm going to call the friends. But please wait until you are called before you come up stage. I'd like to start. Okay, let's do the vote of thanks first before we go on to the cutting of the cake.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Isioma Utomi. I'm on the board of the Center for Values in Leadership, also Professor Utomi's daughter. So yes. Thank you. See, I love it. I didn't have to do anything. I just said my name. Awesome. So yes. So I am very happy to be here and so happy you could all be here. I love this topic because I work at the intersection of leadership and innovation, and this is so critical for the future of Nigeria and the world. Every day you turn on the news and there's a new chip or there's something new happening in AI and just the world of technology. And I think it's so important that Nigeria and Africa as a whole be ahead of the curve in this area, and we have the opportunity to do so, and infrastructure is a huge part of that. But I just want to thank so much the keynote speaker, Dr. Ernest Ndukwe, because he made so many amazing points. Didn't he make amazing points? Exactly. There's just so much that we need in terms of access, and infrastructure and broadband is a huge part. Just high-speed access is so necessary for promoting education and really allowing us to connect and do more in our society. So thankful for our chairwoman, for Mrs. Isibo, for being here and for supporting this occasion. Thank you so much, Mrs. Isibo. I'm grateful to our panelists who delivered a really engaging discussion on all the things that we need. There was a huge discussion on collaboration and how critical it is for going forward. You can't do anything this great alone. We need to collaborate, both government and private sector, to really move ourselves forward in this area. And then finally, I thank all of you for being here, because without you, we wouldn't have this occasion. So clap for yourselves. A big thank you to everyone who contributed to the success of this event, to, of course, the founder, Professor Pat Utomi, the board and management of the Center for Values in Leadership, CVL, to, again, our panelists and speakers and all the contributors, to our partners and sponsors, to MTN, to NLNG, Chisco, Tennessee, Bovas and Company Limited, St. Nicholas Hospital, and the Personence Group. We thank you all so much. We thank you for your contributions, for continuing to allow us to do this every year, year on year. We are not taking that for granted. And once again, we wish you a lovely day going forward, and thank you all so much for being here.
All right, in no particular order of preference, I'd like to invite... Okay, we're going to move the cake to the center so that everybody can have this background. So can we have two ushers, please, come and help us to move the cake? Ushers, please, very quickly. Smarten House, you're going to be the first. Please quickly come for... Okay, you are busy. No, you are eating. Finish your food. Take your time, and finish your food. Okay, so let's invite the widows first. The Widows Support Group that Professor Utomi supports. All the widows, please come up now. Jesus is the husband of widows, but Professor Utomi chooses to act like Jesus. In other words, is Prof cheating? He's not. Okay, so he just loves widows. All right, so all of the widows and ushers, please quickly move the cake. Just one of them, just the big blue one. Move it this way. Keep going. You are moving it to the center. Keep going. Hold it. Stop. Thank you. All right. Ifeoma Utomi will represent her dad. All right. Immediately after that, we're having the great students of Great St. John's. At that time, Smarten House should be ready. All right, we're doing this. No, you should be in the center. For today, you are Professor Pat Utomi. All right, the second cake has to be there, so widows, please move back just a bit. Eba wa so saying diema. Akara oyinbo keji o fe bo siwaju. Ẹ ṣé gidi gan ni. Thank you. Thank you, widows. I'm sorry. Thank you, ushers. Sorry. We're doing this at the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you very much. You can go back to your seats. Great students of Great St. John's, it's your turn. If you're busy, let's have... Are you still eating? All right, the great students of Great St. John's are coming next. Put your hands together for them. They were one of the first people to arrive. The Great St. John's School. Great St. John's. Please hold on for the widows. Widow, hold on for your mothers. Let your mothers go down. And the boys and girls of Great St. John's will come right after that. And we also have Nigeria Youth Assembly present with us. They've also been here all morning. Great St. John's, take great strides quickly towards the cake. Make it quick, make it fast. You're going to have only 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Photographer, please do this at the count of 10. All right. Photographer, please spread out, please spread out, please spread out. Photographer, please do this in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you very much. Smarton House, it's your turn. Yaba College of Technology, please get ready. Smarton House, it's your turn. Yaba College of Technology, please get ready. You're coming next. Smarton House, take position. Smarton House. Sorry, okay, so you're going to be going out that way, so people can come in this way. So don't worry, they have already gone. So you can go and pass Ribadu Road while some people pass Dodan Barracks.
How are you?
Yeah,
Good afternoon.
All right, Smarton House, get up stage. Smarton House, get up stage.
Good afternoon.
Smarton House, you have 15 seconds. Be smart, Smarton House. Great St. John students were great, so you have to be smart. All right, we're doing this at the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sorry. Wait. What do you people say? We didn't hear now. Wait, there's one smarter down there. Let's allow him to come up. He came with you people now. Oh yeah, come and feature in the picture of the future. Quickly. So we're going to say that thing again. Smarter. Energy. All right, the last smarter is here. We're doing this in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Smarters! Energy. Go that way. Go and use your energy to go down that way. Yaba College of Technology. Yaba the Great. You're next. Yaba College of Technology is next. Right after that, we're having delegates from the Nigeria Youth Assembly. Yaba Tech, it's your turn.
Thank you, bro. You guys are amazing.
Nigeria Youth Assembly, please get ready. I know that they are few. Yaba College of Technology, Yaba the Great. Yaba College of Technology, we're doing this at the spelling of Y-A-B-A-T-E-C-H. Yaba Tech. All right, let's go, photographer. Thank you very much. Please face the camera, not the cake. Look at the camera, don't look at the cake. All right. We're doing this in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nigeria Youth Assembly, it's your turn. Thank you very much. Yaba, go that way. Egba, Yaba, Elogba, Jibu. I'll pass Jibu and come and turn around. All right, Nigeria Youth Assembly, you're next. After Nigeria Youth Assembly, we would have University of Lagos. University of Lagos. Unilag, you're next. All right, Nigeria Youth Assembly. The assembly is very small. There are small students on the assembly today. We're doing this at the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. University of Lagos. Unilag. I didn't call Unilag alumni, sir. I'm calling Department of Electrical Engineering, not alumni of Unilag. You are CVL, so you are coming next. You are part of CVL family, so you are coming next. So students and lecturers of Unilag, Members of staff of CVL, you're coming next. All right, let's do this at the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you very much. Volunteers and supporters of CVL. Volunteers and supporters of CVL. Right after that, we would have the staff of CVL. For now, volunteers and supporters of CVL. Very quickly, please. Volunteers and supporters of CVL. Volunteers and supporters of CVL. After that, we would have the staff of CVL. Volunteers and supporters of CVL. And right after that, we'll have staff of Benson Idahosa University, where Professor Otome is Pro-Chancellor. Please, let's have volunteers and supporters of CVL. Immediately after this, we're having the staff of CVL. And then management and staff of Benson Idahosa University. We're doing this at the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Benson Idahosa University. Let's have them now. Let's have Benson Idahosa University. Staff of CVL, you can start coming in now. Staff of CVL, staff of CVL, staff of CVL. Benson Idahosa University, it's your time in the spotlight. They've come all the way from Edo State. We don't take you for granted. God granted them journey mercies here, and definitely they're having journey mercies all the way back. Benson Idahosa University, take your picture, take your picture. They're about to start a sermon and the scripture. Benson Idahosa University, we're doing this at the spelling of BENSON. Thank you very much. Staff of Center for Values in Leadership, all members of staff, admin staff, secretarial staff, finance staff, driver, HR, ED. Quickly. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much. Photographer, do this. Do this. They don't want to be there. I've been calling them since. Thank you. All right, TK will sing us out. The great St. John students will dance to TK. They're going to dance Alanta. They'll dance Alengo. They're going to do their leg work under the supervision of their teachers. Their teachers have been teaching them how to do leg work. So you come and pay your body. And students of the Smart Hand as well. All right, come and do your leg work. Whichever you can go. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. God willing, together we'll be in the United States of America, February 6th next year. I prophesied, and people from Benson Idahosa have applauded. That's a seal from the Archbishop. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please sing the birthday song along with me. Thank you very much. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. I can hear you. May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless you, dear Prof. May the good Lord bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.